The book we are going to share with you today is called The Next Age of Uncertainty. Here we are referring to economic uncertainty. What impact will this economic uncertainty have on ordinary people? Firstly, for ordinary families, economic uncertainty may lead to fluctuations in the job market. For example, during periods of economic slowdown or instability, your company may cut expenses, including layoffs, which directly affects the income security of the family. In addition, economic uncertainty will also affect our cost of living, such as fluctuations in housing prices and prices, which will increase the difficulty of our daily family budget planning. For enterprises, economic uncertainty usually means higher risks and difficulties in investment decisions. In an unstable economic environment, it is difficult for enterprises to predict future demand, which affects decisions on capacity expansion or new product development. For example, during the global financial crisis in 2008, many enterprises were forced to reduce their operating models or postpone investment plans due to a sharp decline in market demand. In addition, economic uncertainty in international trade, such as sudden changes in trade policy, may also force enterprises to reconsider their supply chain design, increasing costs and complexity. Why does the economy have uncertainty? There are many reasons, such as many factors that affect the economy are constantly evolving long-term factors. These forces work at different times and in different directions, and their interactions produce complex results, which can lead to economic instability and uncertainty. In addition, economic forecasts are usually based on historical data and existing models, but these models cannot perfectly predict the future because economists, like scientists, rely on receiving a large amount of information to propose hypothetical models. However, scientific hypotheses can be verified in the laboratory, while the effectiveness of economic models can only be tested in actual situations. Because future events and conditions may be different from the past, economic forecasts always have uncertainty. How to understand economic uncertainty? This is the question answered in the book we are going to talk about today. The author of this book, Stephen Poloz, is a Canadian economist who also served as governor of the Bank of Canada. From June 2013 to June 2020, under his leadership, the Bank of Canada not only focused on inflation targets, but also attached importance to financial stability and economic prosperity, and implemented a series of important monetary policies to respond to the economic challenges after the global financial crisis and the economic impact brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. In terms of academia, Mr. Poloz is also a respected economist who has published many influential academic papers and reports. It can be said that Mr. Poloz has authoritative speaking rights in understanding economic uncertainty. Next, we will divide it into 3 parts to explain the main content of this book to you. The first part is why there is economic uncertainty. The second part is what factors affect economic uncertainty. And the third part is what changes these economic factors will bring to the global economy. Okay, let's first talk about the content of the first part. Why does economic uncertainty exist? The so-called existence of economic uncertainty actually means that we cannot accurately predict what will happen in the future. But why is this the case? Here are several main reasons. Firstly, economic activities are influenced by various factors because our economic environment is like a huge network and various factors are interrelated. For example, government policy changes, international trade relations, and even consumer psychology can all affect the economy. Whenever the government takes a series of measures to cope with an economic slowdown, such as tax cuts or increased public spending, it is itself an uncertain variable because we cannot know exactly how effective these measures will be. In terms of international relations, taking trade policy as an example, the trade war launched by the U.S. against China in 2018 led to a rearrangement of the global supply chain. The U.S. imposed tariffs on billions of dollars of Chinese imports, causing widespread economic uncertainty and affecting global manufacturing and consumer prices. This sudden change in policy makes it difficult for companies to make long-term investment decisions because they are unsure when these policies will change or end. Secondly, economic forecasting has great limitations. although economists also use various complex models to predict the future. These models are basically based on past data. In reality, there will always be new variables that have never been recorded or considered before. This is like trying to explore new territory with an old map. And it is difficult to guarantee accuracy. For example, a typical case of the failure of the global financial crisis style prediction in 2008. Before the crisis, many economic models failed to predict the impact of the collapse of the U.S. housing market on the global financial system. These models often ignored the accumulation of risks in the housing market bubble and high-risk mortgage loans, which ultimately led to a serious underestimation of the crisis from the government to the academic community. Finally, sudden extreme events can also have a significant impact on the economy, such as natural disasters, international political turmoil, or global pandemics like COVID-19. These are difficult factors to consider in economic forecasting because their timing and impact are extremely difficult to predict. Taking the novel coronavirus as an example, who would have thought that a sudden virus would affect the global economic order within a few months? Such events could cause supply chain disruptions, tourism and retail industries to plummet, and have a comprehensive impact on the economy. Of course, in addition to the main economic uncertainties mentioned above, there are other factors that also affect the stability and prediction of the economy. For example, technological progress is one of the important factors driving economic development, but it also brings uncertainty. For example, the rise of the internet has changed the face of the retail industry, and the explosive growth of e-commerce has put tremendous pressure on many brick-and-mortar stores. The application of new technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine learning may also disrupt existing business models and job markets in a short period of time, causing the disappearance of certain professions and the emergence of new ones. There is also the volatility of financial market, because financial market itself has a high degree of uncertainty. Market sentiment, investor behavior, and the innovation of various financial products and tools may cause significant market fluctuations. Sudden stock crashes will quickly evaporate, and a large amount of market value will greatly affect investors' wealth and consumer confidence. Well, here we have introduced the first part of the content for you. In short, there are too many factors that affect the economy, which are very complex. Under the joint action of these factors, the economy is full of uncertainty. So, how does the author of this book understand these factors that affect economic uncertainty? This is what we will talk about in the second part. In Mr. Poloz's view, the fundamental factors that have a fundamental impact on economic uncertainty should be the fundamental forces that can shape the economic pattern in the long run and influence the trend of economic development. He calls these factors economic structural forces. In this book, Mr. Poloz believes that there are 5 factors that contribute to such economic structural forces, namely population aging, technological progress, income inequality, exacerbated debt growth, and climate change. Below, we will briefly explain how these factors affect the economy. Let's first talk about the factors of population aging. The author believes that the impact of population aging on economic development is mainly reflected in the potential economic growth rate decline caused by the slowdown of labor force growth. What does this mean? It means that there are 2 main sources of economic growth. One is the increase of labor force, and the other is the growth of labor productivity. The increase of labor force directly contributes to economic output because more workers can produce more goods and services. In reality, global population aging means that a certain proportion of working-age population is decreasing, which leads to a decrease in labor supply in the labor market. The author believes that in the past 50 years, the economy has experienced rapid growth due to the large-scale entry of the baby boomer generation into the labor market. However, as this generation gradually retires, the labor supply situation is reversing, and the trend of economic growth will also slow down, thereby reducing the potential growth rate of the economy. Moreover, the author believes that for this reason, future economic growth will not recover to the average level of the past 50 years, but will instead converge with the average over a longer historical period. This means that future economic development will appear bleak compared to the exceptional prosperity of the baby generation. Next is the factor of technological progress. The author believes that technological progress is regarded as the main driving force of economic growth, which promotes economic growth by improving production efficiency and creating new products and services. However, technological progress may also lead to the disruption of the labor market, as automation and new technologies may replace certain jobs. For example, the steam engine in the 19th century, electricity in the early 20th century, and computer technology in the 1970s all brought about leaps in productivity through technological revolutions, and these changes often accompanied painful adjustment periods. Poloz emphasized that, historically, although technological change may lead to short-term unemployment and inequality, in the long run, it benefits society by increasing productivity and creating new job opportunities. The upcoming fourth industrial revolution, centered on digitalization, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology, heralds a new round of technological progress and economic changes that bring challenges to job positions and labor market structures, as well as opportunities for future growth and innovation. In addition, the exacerbation of income inequality is also an important factor affecting the economy. Today's income inequality has become a key issue in modern society, which may lead to social instability and political turmoil. Technological progress and globalization are considered the main factors of income inequality, as they tend to increase the demand for high-skilled labor while reducing the demand for low-skilled labor. The author wrote in the book that income inequality not only affects social fairness, but may also affect economic growth. Because consumer demand is closely related to income distribution, policymakers need to find ways to reduce income inequality and ensure that the benefits of technological progress can be more widely distributed, such as providing education and training opportunities to help the workforce adapt to technological changes. If the issue of income inequality is not properly addressed, it may further exacerbate social division and political stability. In addition, debt growth is an important factor affecting the economy. As a key issue in macroeconomics, debt growth may lead to risks in financial stability. For example, high debt levels may limit consumption and investment for ordinary households or companies, thereby slowing down economic growth. For a country, the introduction of macroeconomic policies, especially low interest rate policies, may encourage the accumulation of government debt. However, Poloz believes that even if debt can promote consumption and investment, excessive debt levels will lead to financial instability and economic recession. Finally, the author believes that climate change is also an important factor affecting the economy. It has an impact on economic activity through extreme weather events and environmental changes, as climate change may lead to a decrease in agricultural productivity, frequent natural disasters, and damage to infrastructure. In addition, Borlotti also emphasizes in the book how the policies implemented by governments to address climate change affect the economy, such as carbon emission standards and carbon tax policies issued by various governments. These policies and actions may affect energy prices, industrial layout, and economic growth patterns. The author proposes that global cooperation is needed for climate change response measures, which should promote economic growth while protecting the environment. Alright, we have finished talking about the second part of the content here. Next, let's talk about the impact of these factors on the global economy, which is also the last part we will talk about today. Poloz believes that the several economic structural forces we mentioned in the previous part do not only affect the global economy, but also have a comprehensive and far-reaching impact on the global economy. How do they work specifically? First, these economic structural forces increase the volatility and instability of the economy with the dynamic interaction of globalization, technological innovation, population changes, environmental policy changes, and financial market. The volatility and instability of the global economy have significantly increased. The interaction of these economic structural forces not only makes economic forecasting more difficult, but also exacerbates the fluctuations of the economic cycle. For example, although technological progress has increased production efficiency, it may also cause the contraction of certain industries, thereby affecting employment and income distribution. Globalization has strengthened international economic ties, making economic shocks in any region likely to quickly spread globally, thereby increasing the interconnectedness and vulnerability of the global economy. Secondly, these factors increase the complexity of policy making. In the author's view, as policymakers, they are trying to balance multiple goals such as promoting economic growth, controlling inflation, and maintaining job security, but various economic factors working together in the global economy make them face unprecedented challenges. For example, the implementation of environmental policies requires the promotion of green technology and sustainable practices without harming economic growth. In addition, the volatility of the global financial market requires monetary policy and fiscal policy to have sufficient flexibility and foresight to respond to rapidly changing economic environments. Third, different economic structures exacerbate social inequality. Although technological change and globalization promote economic growth at the macro level, they may exacerbate social inequality at the micro level, because the automation and digitization trends brought about by technological progress may benefit high-skilled workers, while low-skilled workers face the risk of unemployment, which further widens the income gap. At the same time, globalization may also exacerbate economic imbalances between developed and developing countries while promoting international trade and investment flows. Fourth, economic structural forces drive long-term changes in economic trends, such as population aging, which is a key factor affecting long-term economic trends. As the baby boomer generation gradually retires, the labor market in many developed countries will face contraction, which will affect consumption patterns and economic growth. Momentum. In addition, changes in population structure will increase the demand for public services such as medical and elderly care services, increasing the fiscal burden on governments. Against the backdrop of increasingly severe global climate change, the integration of environmental policies and economic strategies has become particularly important. Governments need to find innovative solutions to achieve a win-win situation for economic growth and environmental protection. This includes investing in clean energy, improving energy efficiency standards, and implementing carbon pricing mechanisms. These policies not only help reduce environmental pollution, but also bring new growth opportunities to the economy. Alright, that's all for today's content. Let's briefly review what we talked about today. Overall, economic structural forces, including aging population, technological progress, increasing income inequality, debt growth, and climate change, have shaped a new global economic pattern full of challenges and opportunities. Today's decision makers, businesses, and individuals must adapt to these changes. Only by adopting more flexible and forward-looking strategies can we effectively respond to the increasingly complex economic environment. The author also hopes that countries around the world can strengthen cooperation and jointly respond to cross-border economic and environmental challenges. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful book summaries. See you next time on Insight Reads.